units proposed create or expand their manufacturing presence in India. Deliberations will give insights on the eligibility criteria, incentives offered, conditions for claiming it, a time period for applying under the scheme, scheme operative period, and so on. The focus sectors are auto, advanced chemical cells, solar PV, telecom, white goods, food processing, and pharmaceutical. So about IACC, the Indo-American Chamber of Commerce is a 50-year-old apex bilateral chamber synergizing India-US economic engagement. The major objective of IACC is to promote Indo-American business trade and economic relations. IACC AP and TS branch serves to both states of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. We regularly organize seminars and interactive meetings for the benefit of our members, and also very closely work with the US consulate in Hyderabad. We initiate B2B meetings for inbound delegations from USA with the industry sectors in India and arrange outbound delegations to USA in coordination with our partners in USA and identify potential partners or buyers, etc. So I request all the partners actually to take a benefit of today's session with your active engagement. I think you should get all your doubts clarified, then only it will be beneficial for all the participants. So I wish the participants a very informative and productive session. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Now I request Mr. C.N. Rao, Vice Chairman of IACC APTS branch, CFO of Divyashree NSL Infrastructure Private Limited, to kindly give theme address, please.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. Today's session is one of the very good schemes introduced by the Central Government of India. Production Linked Incentive or PLI scheme is a scheme that aims to give companies incentive on incremental sales from products manufactured in domestic units. The scheme invites foreign companies to set up units in India. However, it also aims to encourage local companies to set up or expand existing manufacturing units and also to generate more employment and cut down the country's reliance on imports from other countries. The PLI scheme is designed with 4 objectives. One is to target specific product areas, to introduce non-tariff measures in order to compete more effectively with cheap imports. 3, blend domestic and export sales to make manufacturing competitive and sustainable. And 4, to promote manufacturing at home while encouraging Atmanirbhar Bharat and Make in India. It was launched in April 2020 for a large-scale electronics manufacturing sector, mainly for specified electronics components and mobile phones. But later, towards the end of 2020, it was introduced for 10 more sectors. The scheme was introduced in line with India's Atmanirbhar Bharat campaign. It was introduced as a part of the national policy on electronics by the IT Ministry to give incentives of 4 to 6% to electronic companies manufacturing electronic components like mobile phones, transistors, diodes, etc. The main aim of this scheme was to invite foreign investors to set up their manufacturing units in India and also promote the local manufacturers to expand their units and generate employment. The first sector which the PLI scheme had targeted was the large-scale electronics manufacturing in April 2020. And by the end of the year, November 2020, 10 more sectors, including food processing, telecom, electronics, textiles, specialty steel, automobiles, and auto components, solar photovoltaic cells, modules, and white goods such as air conditioners, LEDs, etc. were also expanded under the scheme. As far as the eligibility is concerned, all electronic manufacturing companies which are either Indian or have registered unit in India will be eligible to apply for the scheme. Of course, more elaborate clarifications and explanations, etc., will be given by the ENY team. In the Union Budget 2021, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman mentioned that inclusion of 13 more sectors under the PLI scheme for a period of 5 years and rupees 1.97 lakh crores have been allocated for the scheme from financial year 2022. Based on the 10 sectors to which the production-linked incentive scheme was expanded to, the government aims to achieve the following targets. The government aims to make India an integral part of the global supply chain and enhanced exports. India is expected to have a $1 trillion digital economy by 2025. As it expects the demand for electronics to increase under its projects like Smart India, Smart City, and Digital India. The PLI scheme will make the Indian automotive industry more competitive and will enhance the globalization of the Indian automotive sector. The Indian textile industry is also one of the largest in the world, and with this scheme, it shall attract large investments in the sector to further boost domestic manufacturing, especially in the man-made fiber segment and technical textiles. India being the second largest producer of steel in the world, introduction it under the PLI scheme will benefit the country as it may expand export opportunities. Similarly, telecom, solar panels, pharmaceuticals, white goods, and all other sectors introduced can contribute to the economic growth of the country and make India a manufacturing hub globally. So our consultant team, ENY, will throw more light on the PLI scheme. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for the theme address. Now I take this opportunity to introduce our speakers for this session, Mr. Bhavesh Thakkar and Mr. Sachin Agarwal. Mr. Bhavesh is a partner with Ernst & Young India in the tax and regulatory services with special focus on incentives and subsidies. He's a graduate in commerce from Pune University and a member of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. He's a regular speaker with various industry forums, incentives and subsidies in India. He has been extensively involved in advising multinational and domestic companies across a range of sectors such as manufacturing and automobile. He is a visiting faculty member of ICAI and a key speaker at various industry forums. He specializes in providing end-to-end services in relation to the fiscal incentives by the state and central government and setting up expansion of new units. He has presented a paper on state subsidies in India in 2014 and on Make in India in 2015 at Hannover Messe. He has made a presentation on Make in India at the Robot World 2015 in Korea, elaborating the initiatives under the Make in India campaign and their impact. He is instrumental in authorizing a publication, Caveating Maharashtra, a guide on the new industrial policy 2013. Another speaker, Mr. Sachin Agarwal. Mr. Sachin is a partner in the tax and regulatory services of Ernst & Young LLP in indirect tax service line in India. Sachin is a commerce graduate and is a member of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India and Institute of Company Secretaries of India. He has 18 plus years of experience in an entire gamut of indirect taxes covering GST, customs, foreign tax policy, excise, VAT, and service tax. Assisted various MNCs with the setup of their operations in India under government incentive schemes. advising them on tax supply chain model, tax planning, merger and acquisition, advise domestic and foreign venture funds, and transaction support in acquisitions, handle litigation at various levels, work with Indian and multinational companies in the IT and manufacturing sectors, advise companies on setting up operations in special economic zones, industrial parks, software technology park, and in obtaining approvals from authorities, assisted with state incentives, advisory, tech structuring, litigation support for handset and PC industries. So this is the brief profile of our speakers for today's session. Now I request our speakers to kindly take over. Thank you.
Thanks, Shikha. Thanks, Shikha, for the introduction. And good evening, everyone. So it's Sachin here. So today we will be basically speaking about the new PLI schemes which have been introduced by the government. So as Mr. Rao and Mr. Vijay rightly mentioned, that the government, with the objective to boost the domestic manufacturing and to further their objective of Atmanirbhar Bharat, has introduced various incentive schemes in last couple of years. The success of the first 2-3 schemes which were introduced by the government, which was in relation to mobile phones, IT hardware and components, and pharma and medical devices, has resulted in the government announcing the PLI schemes for another 10 sectors. So as we see that the whole objective of the government is to see that how they basically encourage the domestic manufacturing, promote the export. So this time the best part is that generally most of the incentive schemes which are announced by the government are mainly related to boost the export market. But this time the government has been extended this production linked incentive scheme to boost the domestic manufacturers, even the SMEs and the MSMEs sectors. So that their provisions are made in the schemes to ensure that the benefits are given homogeneously to all the sectors, to all the players in a sector. The other objective is that if a particular company or a industry is basically looking for developing new product in the market which will reduce the import substitution, the thrust has been given on to those companies as well. There has been the government has identified thrust sectors for the PLI schemes. While mobile phone, IT hardware, components, pharma and medical devices they have already operationalized. The operational guidelines has been released for the sectors like pharma, food processing, air conditioners, solar power, PV modules, telecom and network equipment. And some of the things which are still in pipeline are auto, textile, steel products, ACC batteries. And what we hear is that there are other sectors which will be added by the government, as mentioned in the during the budget session by the Honorable Finance Minister. The main criteria or the condition based on which the incentives which will be given to the industries is basically based on the specified investment and or capacity and on the sales turnover criteria. So whatever turnover which has been achieved by the company based on in 1920 or 2021 will be the base year that will be considered for granting the benefit to the companies under the different schemes, under the different sector schemes. So there are other qualitative factors which are basically screened by the project management agency appointed by the government, and different project management agency has been appointed for the different sectors to deal with the incentives and to ensure that the incentives are given to the sectors which are more on the innovative or more give a thrust on manufacturing, boosting manufacture within India. So the benefit is in the form of a recurring incentive in the form of a 4 to 6% of incentive over a period of 4 to 5 years over the additional turnover which they generate over in next 4 or 5 years. The broad principles on the principle based on which they basically evaluate each of the application is based on this, the past performance of the industry, how seriousness and what are the investments which the company is ready to make, and what are the investments, what are the additional growth which they are showing in next 4 or 5 years. So the agency received the application, and there are applications which are coming for various sectors to the different sectors to the PMA agency, and they are evaluating evaluating each of the application based on set parameters and then granting the approval. After the approval, there is a process of disbursal, which will be there will be a schedule of disbursal which will be provided by the government, which needs to be followed to ensure that the disbursals or the refunds are granted to the companies. As I said that the PLI scheme is already operationalized for these sectors. Today, we will focus mainly on the sectors for which the guidelines have been released in last 1 week or 10 days, and which are currently ongoing, and the companies are eligible to apply, make an application under those sectors. While for the mobile phone, IT hardware and component sectors and medical devices, the schemes were launched and they are closed. There is no option for now making application unless the second round are introduced by the government. But for the pharma, food processing, solar PV, air conditioners or white goods, and telecom and network equipment, the guidelines have been released, and there is a time limit within which the application has to be filed. So what we will basically thrust upon now is on mainly on the pharma, white goods sector, and the food processing sector. So my colleague partner Bhavesh will take you through the operational guidelines under these sectors, and possibly thereafter we can basically we'll open the forum for the questions, wherein you can ask whatever doubts you have on in relation to the various teams. With that, I will hand over it to Mr. Bhavesh to basically take you through the operational guidelines of the schemes. Thanks,
yeah.
Sir.
Thank you, Sachin, and good evening to all. So the intention, as Sachin largely said, that we will try to cover 3 schemes in detail. And if time permits, so we'll try to cover this in the next 50-55 minutes. And we can then have a round of questions, because I understand that there will be some questions out here. And what we have done is largely we have looked at schemes which have a larger outreach. So we are looking at pharma, food processing, and air conditioners, LED products, the components, because as we understand from the make of the scheme also, that solar PV modules would be largely restricted to 3 or 4 players only. So if you see pharma, food processing, and air conditioner LED products, that is something which will have a larger outreach here. So what I'll do is I'll just keep my video off because of network issues, so the bandwidth is not then consumed much on this. So yes, as we started that on the 4 schemes which were already being launched, and if you see the encouraging response what we have received for all these 4 schemes which were there. So you had mobile phones and specified electronic components with a budgetary allocation of 41,000 crores. And the committed investment is 11,000 crores out here. In critical medical drugs, you are talking of a 5,000 crore investment, 730 crores in medical devices. So, and IT hardware is still under approval. So the messaging what to give us here is that it has been a very encouraging response till now. Yes, in all the schemes, there are some nitty-gritties which needs to be understood, but industry in at least filing those responses. And as this incentive are for a 6 or a 7 year period, slowly, steadily, we will come to know whether the investments are actually happening, and triple effect of that economy and the sales, which is the production link, will actually flow down in the economy sooner or later. So what we will take first is the PLI for pharmaceutical products, because this is the one which came in last week, and we'll go slightly in detail in this. So there was a pharma scheme earlier also. So there's a pharma 2 which has come. So pharma scheme earlier, which you saw, was largely around the APIs which were there. But this is now APIs and certain bit of formulations, and we'll come to that product details also. The tenure of the scheme is from 2021 to 28-29, and we'll see how that tenure works and how those subsidies work. Just as a current status of the scheme has been with a budget of 15,000 crores. The detailed guidelines of the scheme were published on 1st June 2021, and they have given a 60-day window to apply under this scheme. And this window starts from 2nd July. So you look at 31st July as the last date to apply under this scheme. Now, what does it talk about? And we'll go slightly on detail on that, but just a minute on the procedure. As Sachin rightly said, that there is a project management agency which has been appointed in this case. So in this pharma scheme, IFCI is the project management agency. So look, it's an online portal which you need to apply on with all the details, and we will come to those rating criteria also. So then IFCI will go through the files. They have been given almost a 90-day window to approve the file. As we said last time, as we saw last time, that probably they may not consume that whole 90 days. Then IFCI will give us an approval. Keep applying for those incentive on a year-to-year basis is how the scheme is going to work here. What they have done here is, let's look at the eligibility criteria. So which category do you fit in? What are the products which will be available, which will be eligible rather? What is the minimum cumulative investment we need to make? And what is the incentive what you will get? So the companies have been bifurcated on the basis of 3 groups actually. So there is a group A, a group B, and group C. So group A, who have a global manufacturing revenue of more than 5,000 crores, that is something which is group A. B is 500 to 5,000 and group C is less than 500. And here they have brought in a special section for MSME players also. So that is something, and MSME would be as per the MSME definition of June 20, which was changed. So you need the Udyam registration to qualify to be a MSME. So if you see the number of players which they are going to select out of these applicants, so group A, which is largely this multinational and the big pharma giants, which you see, 11 participants will be selected out of the total applications which they receive. And out of that, 4 can be MNCs. Maximum 4 would be MNCs. 9 participants with maximum 3 foreign MNCs. Group C is 35 participants. Now, this is something where the subsidy, if you look at Pharma 1, it was largely for larger players, or I will also say telecom and other are for larger players. But here, the focus has also come on MSME in this Pharma 2, I would say. And out of this 35 participants, they are saying that minimum of 20 have to be MSMEs and subject to sufficient eligible conditions if the MSME is meeting. And we will have a look at those conditions. While calculating this global manufacturing revenue, they have computed, or rather given a definition of how do we look at the global manufacturing revenue. And while looking at the global manufacturing revenue, the base year what you need to look at is 1920. So for this scheme, the base year for calculation of the benefits is also 1920, and the base year to calculate the global manufacturing revenue is also 1920. Here it is top manufacturing revenue. So you have to remove all the service income and R&D services and rental income. So talk about only manufacturing revenue. And you can include the group revenue also, group companies revenue also. So what is a group company has been defined as per the FDI circular, where you can exercise 26% voting rights or appoint more than 50% board members. So that's how this has bifurcated. So, but one important point what we'll have to keep in mind over here is that the global manufacturing revenue, this 5,000 crores or 500 to 5,000, and along with the group company, is just to determine your eligibility, which group you will fall in. The application, the investment, the incentive, all will be calculated applicant-wise only, the entity-wise only. So there you will not consolidate the group revenue while you are calculating the incentives, and see how the incentives are being calculated. Now, if you fall under a certain category, this ABC here, you will have to have a minimum cumulative investment to be made. So group A, which are these large giants, they are to make an investment of 1,000 crores over a period of 5 years, starting from 21-22, and we'll come to that. Group B is 250 crores and Group C is 50 crores. Now, excluding MSME again in Group C. So in the case of a MSME, whatever is your, so there is no minimum threshold which is there or a maximum threshold. You have to commit the investment. So you can say that I will invest 10 crores over a period of 5 years. what the expectation here is that if you are committing 10 crores, you should have 2 crores every year. So that is what the expectation is. Now, if you invest the whole 10 crores, then it is not required. So this is something which MSME has been given a flexibility, like you commit what investment you can make. Now, the good part what they have done over here is that they are also adding the investment of 2021. So if you have made any investment in 2021, the year gone by, that will be added to that. And we will also come to what is that, what is considered as investment. So largely, if you see, first you have to see which category do we fall in. And after computing the global manufacturing revenue, we need to see what is the minimum cumulative investments to be made as per the category which is there. And also have a look at the number of applicants which can be selected per category. I will say here MSME stand a good chance because almost 20 reserved seats for them are there. Now, how will the incentive be calculated? Yes, obviously the budgetary allocation of the incentive largest is to a Group A, which is talking of 11,000 crores of incentive. But Group B also with 2250 and Group C also with 750 is a decent allocation of incentive, allocation of the whole 1,000 crores which is there. As we told, the threshold for any incentive calculation is 31st March 2020. And this incentive will start from the year 1 is 22-23. So they have not taken 21-22 as a year of the first year of incentive. This has been kept as a gestation year. Actual incentive, the first year would be 22-23 and year 6 would be 27-28. So for the first year, first 4 years, it would be 10% and 8% and 6% for year 5 and year 6. And for category 3 products, we'll come to what those categories are as we are discussing the incentives here. So just to simply tell you how those incentives will work, we have taken a simple example. We have tried to take a very simple example here. What we are saying here is that the 90 would be the base year to calculate this incentive. So suppose my 1920 base year turnover is 1,000 crores. And in the year 22-23, the turnover is 1,200 crores. Then on balance of 200 crores, which is the incremental turnover, you will have a 10% subsidy, which will come to 20 crores for that year. So that's how simply it would work. Now, on a year-to-year basis, you should have a 7% growth. Now, this is very, very important. So if you have a 7% growth, taking our example of 1,200 crores, which was having a turnover as on 31st March 23, in 31st March 24, you should at least have a 1,284 crore of sale. So that is very, very important. You should at least touch that 7%. Here, if you have touched 1,300, you will be eligible. So what I will do again is 1,300 minus the base year sale of 1,000 in year 1, which was 9. So 300 is the incremental sale. 10% of that, I will get 30 crores. This is how the subsidy would work. And it would be a year-to-year subsidy, what you will be getting. And just to tell you, friends, all these PLI-based subsidies, 2 important points in this. These are all cashbacks. These are not any scripts or any negotiable instruments like a MEIS and which these kind of things where you can redeem it with something. Straight cashbacks which will come to you as a subsidy. So that's aspect number 1, which is very, very important. The aspect number 2, which is very, very important, except the solar PLI, all the other PLIs talks about that you can claim any other benefits from the central government, the state government, any export benefits. So whatever are there as a benefits, you can claim all of that. So this PLI is over and above that, which you will have to claim as an incentive, which you can claim as an incentive. So we're really looking at a very, very good, I will say, opportunity here, especially for MSME sector, I would say, where 20 seats are reserved. Yes, they have devised their rating criteria. So the rating criteria have been devised where they are talking about what are your investments in the last 10 years, your R&D spends, what is your committed investment. So on the basis of those rating criteria, the government will decide who to incentivize. The government, rather, the project management agency, which is IFCI in this case, will decide whom to incentivize, and they will give the incentives accordingly. So a total 15,000 crore allocation has been made under this scheme. Now, looking at what are the category of products which are covered here. So you have a category 1, you have a category 2 and category 3. As we saw, category 1 and category 2, the incentive or 8% going forward. And category 3, as we saw here, we are talking of a 5% for the first 4 years and 4% for year 5 and 3% for year 6. So largely the incentive for category 1 and 2 products is higher, clearly, is what is there. Now, what are this category 1? So you have this biopharma, complex generic drugs which are there, which is category 1. You have category 3, which is drugs not covered in category 1 and category 2, which is autoimmune, anti-cancer drugs, anti-diabetic drugs. And what has come here in category 2 is the APIs, actually, the active pharmaceutical ingredients, where you can, so they came up with the Pharma 1 last year. And there they are clearly told that this 41 eligible products, 41 eligible APIs were notified in that scheme. Now, in this scheme, you can apply if you are a API player, and it should be out of that 41 which are already being notified. So outside that 41 eligible products which were there in API 1, in Pharma 1, all the other APIs are eligible. So a very, very good subsidy, I would say. And what they have done here they have added that the other drugs as approved. So if we feel that we are a immune drug, we are an anti-cancer drug, we are an anti-diabetic drug, you can actually apply to the Department of Pharma and say that this product should be eligible. And the committee would take an approval. And on the basis of that, it will be well within their powers to approve the incentive for that product. So just that 31st July is the last date. How this online portals behave, we have seen that normally last days are a problem. So we should look at probably 25th July or 20th July as the last date for this scheme largely. So this is how largely pharma would work. And I'm sure there are many players in Andhra, Telangana, which are interested and which should be interested rather in this scheme, the whole pharma scheme, which is there, which has a window of almost 50 days now, if you want to look at that. So this is on pharma. Now we will try to cover white goods, which is there, which is again a good scheme, I would say. Basically, some background of this scheme was, so though the name is white goods, it largely covers only components, and it is talking about components of air conditioner, and they have defined what is a conditioner. So it is room air conditioner and commercial air conditioners and variable refrigerant flow. So that is how they have defined the air conditioners. And what they have done here is they have broken this into 3 categories, which is air conditioner components. Then you have a category 2, the high value intermediaries of AC, which are compressors, oil-free copper tubes and aluminum stocks. So this is how this will work. And there is a category 3, which is low value intermediaries of ACs. Just to tell you, friends, the intention initially, if you see, of this scheme was talking about incentivizing finished goods. But then when the scheme came in, the Commerce Minister, Mr. Piyush Goyal, said that now we need to move out ahead of the finished goods. We need to incentivize components, because somewhere the logic here was that if I give the incentive to finished goods also, how can I incentivize twice in the chain? Like if I'm giving to components also, and if I'm giving this to the finished goods also, how can I incentivize twice in the chain? So this is something was a valid, but somewhere what has happened due to that is many of these players at this point of time, so none of this, if you look at the, at least in the LED space, I would say, in the LED space, none of the LED is actually manufactured in India. It is largely assembly. So, and most Chinese players, if you look at these manufacturers. So it would be important to capture the right market out here, have the potential investors to actually get into this. So these are the various LED components also which will be incentivized. And if you see, is largely a very, very scattered market, if you see. At least in the LED space, if you see, these are largely scattered market. So you will have smaller players also which will be eligible for this subsidy. Now, what they have done here, they have set up some threshold limits here. And we'll come to that limits. That limits, according to us, are slightly higher. If you are at these limits, what are there? And first we'll come to the eligibility and then we will come to what limits are expected. Now, what they have done in each of these, whether in LED or in the AC space, they have broken this into two parts. They are saying that you should be a large investment or you can be a normal investment. Now, to be eligible under the scheme, first, you have to look, this is the pre-qualification criteria. To be eligible, you need to look at, as on 31st March 2020, whether your global revenue, and global revenue means consolidated revenue both in India and outside India, whether your global revenue, your gross block, and the net worth, as on 31st March 2020, is what you see on the screen just now. So you should have taken example, if you're talking of LED core components, you should have a gross block for a large investment if you want to commit of 150 crores. You should have a global revenue of 750 crores and you should have a net worth of 90 crores. And if you're applying in a small, in a normal investment, you should have a block of 50 crores, global revenue of 200 crores and the net worth of 30 crores. Now, these are all historic figures, obviously. You are talking of 31st March 2020 as the global revenue. So, and these three criteria. So the benchmark year and the year which has been decided to treat as a benchmark is 31st March 2020. If you satisfy all these criteria, all the three criteria, the gross block, global revenue, net, then you are eligible under this scheme. So this is very, very important. So if you see here that some of the products, like if you put a tube in air conditioner, it has not been manufactured in India at this point of time, largely. So the global players which are looking at that can look at India as a manufacturing nation and enjoy incentives under this scheme. So their global revenue in their case would be meaning what they manufacture in Malaysia or wherever their production. So that is something we'll have to keep in mind. But we need to satisfy all these three conditions, whether large or normal, which you want to commit. Now, once you are eligible under this scheme, assume you are eligible and you are meeting all these criteria in LED components or AC components. Now, there are certain investment thresholds which are there. And I will take the investment thresholds. I will take probably a LED one, which would be more simpler, and rather all the bases are same otherwise. So take an example of a AC component, which they are expecting around 600 crores of investment over a period of 5 years and a net incremental sales. So what I will do is I will take a LED one, which is similar, and all these conditions are largely similar. The limits are different. So what they say here, if you want to make LED lights, the core components which have been defined, you should invest 100 crores in 21-22, then 50 crores more, then 50 crores more. So your cumulative investment over a 5-year period has to be 300 crores. So that is, they have defined what are those LED core components. It is the LED chip packaging, the integrated circuits, register, fuses, and large-scale investment in LED components. So what they are expecting, over a 5-year period, you should invest 300 crores. And if you want to file as a normal investment, the overall investment is 100 crores over a period of 5 years. So these are large values of investment. And what we observed out here is largely this scheme, as we talked, was talking about finished goods, and then it shifted to components. But these limits which are there, we feel when we are talking to the industry players, they are still not aligned to that component. So if you talk to many of these component players in the LED segment or any of the AC segment, the AC one, which we talks about a 600 crore investment. So many of the players still feel that these are too large limits. This kind of a investment actually is not required in this space. But yes, this is what is there. And here they are talking of a minimum net incremental sale. So you should have an incremental sale of 600 crores, an incremental sale of 900 crores. And again, 31st March 20 would be the base year. But so the first year, suppose your March 20 turnover is 0. In the first year, you should have 600 crores. Second year, 9. Third year, 1200 crores. So the total incremental sale has to be 6,000 crores over a period of 5 years. This, according to us, also is a slightly higher limit, honestly, to look at, because 6,000 crores is not something which would everybody will be able to achieve. Obviously, there is a normal investment segment also, where the net incremental sale has to be 1,800 crores over a period of 5 years. The incentive, as you see, would be 2 crores, which is the minimum, and in the normal investment, it will be 88 crores over a period of 5 years. The incentive, as we see here, is 6% for the first 2 years, 5% and 4% going further. But what is very important out here is, over a period of 5 years, you're talking of a 300 crore investment and a 297 crore subsidy. So, and a 100 crore investment and a 88 crore kind of a subsidy. So what you're actually looking at is recouping your own whole investment from this subsidy budget, which is there. This is for category LED components, the smaller ones which are there, the wire wound inductors, the drum cores, the heat sinks. Here, the investment limits are a bit lower. If you see, large investment is you invest 25 crores, you should have an incremental turnover of 450 crores and your incentive would be 22 crores. And in a normal investment, you can invest 10 crores and your incremental sale has to be 180 crores and the minimum PLI is 9 crores. So this is how it will work largely. What we understand is even IFCI is the project management agency in this one also. The scheme opens on 15th June and the last date to apply under this scheme would be 15th September, sorry. So they have given 3 months over here. So as we saw Pharma PLI with the due date of 31st July, here it is talking of 3 months. So you get 15th September to apply under this scheme. But as I told, the general impression get from the industry at this point of time is that the limits which are here, if you look at the ACs and other limits also, the limits which are here are quite high. So in the case of an AC component, you're talking of a 600 crore investment and 9,000 crores almost of incremental revenue. So this needs to be aligned a bit is what the industry feedback here is. But yes, in the LED space, I will say there is still some scope if you are looking at the large and the normal investment which is there. Now, this was largely how the LED scheme would work. As we told, the incentive would be the same percentage what we saw, and the procedure would be normally the same. So it will be again IFCI largely, which will be the project management agency and which will be eligible for this scheme. The third one, which is important, is PLI for food processing. So this is again a scheme which is important here. The crux here is that 17 June is the last date for this scheme. So we'll have to keep 17 June is the last date. And if you need to make an application, it should be done before 17 June. Now, what they have done here, they have divided the subsidy into 3 buckets actually. So there are 3 categories where people will be able to apply. So the first is the RTC, or rather the food category, if I want to say. Second is the SME category. And third is the branding and marketing category. So this is how largely the subsidy have been divided. And I'll come to each of them one by one. So what is the branding and marketing? And this is a very, very interesting subsidy which has come here. Here they are talking and they have realized that many of the players are known very, very well in the Indian circuit, in the Indian market. But these are not global giants. The intention in this branding and marketing subsidy is if you promote an Indian brand outside, so if you're Haldiram's or Bikaner Walas, if you promote this Indian brand outside and you have to incur any expenditure on that Indian brand outside, the social media cost or the branding, the store billboards which you spend, so you can actually get 50% of that subsidy, of that cost back from the central government. So this is, I will say, a one-of-a-kind branding subsidy which has come. So they want to actually promote Indian brands to be global giants. So this is something many of the players can actually take a note of and avail a benefit under this scheme. Obviously, it comes with its own criteria, and we will come to some of them. The second category, which is important, is again here they have brought in a SME category. So SME again would be as per the June 20 definition of SME, and we'll have to check that status today, that whether you are still an SME. So, and you should have a minimum sale of 1 crore in 1920. Then you can be eligible under this scheme if you are manufacturing innovative and organic products. And we'll come to what is innovative and organic and why this is important. SME can also be eligible under this scheme, and we'll also see what the subsidy is about. Now, the first category which is there is important. And this has the largest of the subsidy, I would say. So you have a category 1, which is a food segment actually. So again, this has been divided into categories. You have the ready to cook, ready to eat, the processed foods and vegetables, you have marine, and you have mozzarella cheese. So you should have a minimum sale of 500 crores, 250 crores, 600 and 150. And you should have a minimum investment of 150, 75. So that is something, again, this will be for large players in this segment which are there. But this, I will say, for large players, this is a very, very good scheme. So when they're talking of minimum sales in 1920, it is not that the RTC turnover has to be 500 crores. If the entity has a food segment overall, and if that turnover is more than 500 crores, you can still be eligible under this scheme. Whereas the minimum investment has to be for eligible product. So friends, you will feel that RTC is a very restrictive segment, and that was what our first reading was also there. But if you have a look at the list of the products, this is quite elaborate, let me tell you. So all your namkeens, your Indian savory snacks, all this will fall under RTC. And processed fruits and vegetables is all these drinks, these juices, these jams, ketchups, all will fall under that. Marine is normally what we see, and mozzarella cheese there, as it is very restricted players in India which are there. So how the subsidy would work out here? So again, 31st March 2020 will be the base year. So, and for the first 4 years, and for the 25-26, the base year would be 21-22, and 26-27, the base year will be 22-23. So whatever is your base year sale, you will get 10% on the incremental sale over there. So if you see RTC, it talks about 10%, processed fruits and vegetables is 10%, marine products is 6%, but value-added products is again 10%. So you have quite some players in Andhra Pradesh who are looking at this marine products kind of a subsidy, which is eligible. And mozzarella cheese is 10, 8, 6, and 4%. The incentive on this would be again a cashback which will come to you, and you will be eligible for this subsidy. So just to take a step back, we saw the rate of incentive which are 10, 6, 8%. In the case of SMEs, if you have a product which is innovative and organic, and you have this minimum sale of 1 crore, you will also get the same subsidy rate if you categories. Your incentive rate would also be 10%, 10%. So for a SME also, I will say this is a very, very good scheme. So of the total budgetary allocation of 10,900 crores, which have been made in this scheme, important is 250 crores, which is a very, very good amount, have been allocated to the SME. So even if you have 10 players or 20 players falling into this, you are talking of almost 25 to 15 crores subsidy per player. And that can actually change the business payback for a SME. And of this 10,900 crores, 1,500 crores has actually been kept for branding marketing also. So here also you will have lot of players claiming this benefit. So when I talk of branding and marketing, it is mandatory to submit a 5-year proposal. The incentive would be 50% grant on the expenditure what you have made. You are expected 5 crores over a period of 5 years as an expenditure. So in a period of 5 years, you should actually incur 5 crores as a cost, and according to that, you will be incentivized, which will be a 50% incentive on a year-to-year basis. So friends, if you see many of these players who are actually getting the export market, this is a subsidy which will, I will say, quite relevant out here. And they can actually spend this and get this 50% grant from the central government. And again, as I told, food processing subsidy also, or all the PLI scheme in food processing, is over and above the Kisan Sampada, what you are claiming, or even the state subsidies, what you are claiming out here. And what we have seen in the SME segment here is, though innovative is always subject to, I will say, interpretation, but organic products which are registered with APEDA, I guess that will be something which will be interested in this scheme and claim the subsidy of 10 or 8% as the case may be. And what they have done in this branding and marketing one also is the activities which are covered are quite elaborate. So you talk of in-store branding, shelf space renting, listing fees, social media, print media. So all these activities are covered when they are looking at the whole branding and marketing exercise out here. As we have some 5 or rather 10 minutes, we can probably look at the solar scheme also, which is, I will say, largely it will be restricted to 4 or 5 players out there. So there will be a subsidy of 2 to 3%, which will depend on your minimum module efficiency and all that stuff. Slightly technical, I would say. And here they are targeting around 4 or 5 players is what we see. Just on the bid process, so this is kind of a bidding process. This is slightly different from the other PLI there. So this will work on a bidding process where the online registration is open. The last date for the application submission under this would be 30th June 21. And the bid, so somewhere the award, the contract would be awarded to who is claiming the lesser subsidy, or who is saying that if the subsidy, suppose, is 2,000 crores under this scheme, if I say that my calculation says that I would get a 1,500 crore kind of a subsidy, then I will get that bid. So it will be sort of a bidding process which will work out here. And this is more, as I told, will be restricted to 4 or 5 players in India. Telecom and networking, this is similar to the schemes what we are seeing for pharma and food processing. But again, the number of players which are there here than 10 or 12. So the detailed operative guidelines for this scheme have also come. The tenure of the scheme is 5 years from 21-22. It talks of a minimum investment of 10 crores, and for others, the minimum for MSMEs. So here also MSMEs have been here. So what are those telecom and networking products? The core transmission equipments which are there, the other wireless equipments and enterprise like switches, routers. So here you see many of the MSME players who actually are producing this. So you need a minimum investment of 10 crores. And the for MSMEs, actually, this is higher. It talks of a 7 to 4% for MSMEs, and for others, it is 6 to 4%. But largely the working and everything what we saw remains the same. The incentive outlay which is there is 12,195 crores, which will be divided amongst these players which is there. So the last date for this scheme is also 30th June. So this is something when we are working on this one. And the advanced chemistry cell battery again is to be notified. But so solar and advanced chemistry cell batteries are largely, I would say, bid based is how this is going to work here. So financial bid, and again, it will be restricted to 4 or 5 players only is what we understand out here. So if you see largely the schemes, friends here, and if you take a step back here, so if you look, have a look at these schemes, so 4, as we saw, is complete. if you largely look at these schemes, the already operationalized ones is one which we saw have got a good response out here. Operational guidelines are released for pharma. So pharma, if we see, it is 31st July, which is the last date, what we are looking at. Food processing is very, very important, where 17 June is the last date. Air conditioners, 15 September is the last date. I will say solar PV module batteries will still be limited in its coverage, where very, very large players would actually enjoy this benefit. And telecom and networking equipments also have something coming up, rather for the MSME sector. Now, the scheme announcements which are pending just now is auto, textiles, and steel products. So the total budgetary allocation for all these schemes is around 1,99,000 crores. And always there will, in the case of central incentives also, or even in the case of state incentive, people always feel that whether there is a certainty on these incentives. So we also hear that there is a possibility, or rather the discussion is already going on, to keep this in an escrow account. So there is no confusion on the disbursement part. Good part they have done is they have outsourced this to project management agencies like IFCI is a project management agency, or SIDBI is a project management agency. So I will say something has been done, and that part also to bring a certain professionalism to the whole approach. And what we also hear now is, so after 6 or 8 months, once this stabilizes, you will also have probably incentives or PLI coming for chemicals or for toys, which Sachin also said at the start. So they are having various line ministries pushing for these subsidies. There are various ministries which are pushing these subsidies which are there. So you will see more and more PLIs coming, schemes. Yes, if you see, the intention is to incentivize champion players and not spread it very, very thin, but the intention is to incentivize champion. Want to keep a certain focus on the MSME sector also. But going forward, as a central government scheme, I would say PLI would be the template now. This is how largely this is going to work, and PLI would be a template. Of this 1,99,000 crores which is there, I will say 57,000 crores is to auto. So that's very, very good scheme, I would say. So for auto sector, 57,000 crores has been. The operational guidelines for auto will be coming in the next 1 month is what we understand. Similar to pharma and food processing, which has a wider coverage, I guess the next one to look at is textiles. Here also we are expecting this to come in the next 1 month as functional. So this is just now concentrating on man-made textiles and technical textile, man-made fiber and technical textile. So that is also a good scheme, which allocation. And steel products, where the end-to-end steel products and the production needs to happen in India. So we have tried to give you a glimpse of what these policies are, at least what are the released ones, the pharma, food processing and air conditioner in detail. We didn't give much into detail into solar and ACC because that would be a limited scheme which is there. So looking at the time, we thought we will keep more time for questions out here. We already see some questions and answers coming in, and the chat box and the Q&A. So probably we can take questions here specific to the scheme, or even otherwise what is expected and what are the various questions which can be looked into. So we can take some questions here now. Yeah. Here is where do you find information on these policies? Do we know who are already approved to say medical device manufacturing? Yes. So the incentive, or rather the policies which are here, which you are seeing, are available on the Invest India website. So all the Invest India website have the policies which are the 10, rather the 7 which have been approved and the 3 which will come in the pipeline. It is there on the Invest India website. Do we know who are the already approved for, say, medical device manufacturing? Yes. So last year, the medical device manufacturing scheme was released. And when they give the approvals, this is largely in public domain. So if you're talking of the mobile space, yes, it was the Apple manufacturers, which are Wistron, Pegatron, and Foxconn, which got this. Medical device manufacturers, it was Wipro and also one of those which have got this. So this is all in the, so that's available, like who are the manufacturers for medical devices which have been given. Yeah, some members are discussing about copy sharing the presentation.
I think the second question is on the whether diagnostic services business will be eligible for PLI.
Yeah. So here it is talking about in vitro diagnostic services, but it should be into manufacturing. So if you are talking of a testing center, that would, so all this incentive largely are for manufacturing. So if you are, so there's also one more, there was a question earlier that whether if you're talking of a food processing, then whether a company who is manufacturing into machinery which is going into food processing would be eligible. So that will be not. You should be in that food category. The machinery would not be eligible. Yeah, for machinery, you can obviously look at the state incentives and others which are there. So to answer this diagnostic question also is similar. It is not the diagnostic services. It should be manufacturing, which would be eligible under this scheme.
And in fact, just to add to what Bhavesh mentioned, for the machinery, if the government intends, while they have not announced any policy yet, if they want to basically give a boost to a heavy manufacturing in the machinery industries and they want to come out with it, that's something which may be there. But currently, the food PLI does not cover the machinery part of it.
Yeah. There is a question on PLI Pharma. If we want to apply multiple products in the said scheme, then should we apply as a single application or we should make a individual application for each product? So unlike Pharma 1, where it was talking of individual application, if we go through the application form and the guidelines for PLI Pharma 2, which is there, prima facie, as we read it and when they are bifurcating the products here, it seems to be that we will be able to apply all the products under a single application or a single form itself. So that is something which on the first reading of Pharma, and we have asked for those clarifications. The online portal for Pharma, which we see has been functional from yesterday now. So though they told it is 2nd June, it is functional from yesterday now. So now we'll have to probably see how things work, but they have set up a separate dedicated cell also on this, which will reply to the queries. But looking at the first reading of this one, it appears that it able to make multiple products in a single application. Next is again on Pharma, whether it is mandatory that the raw material procurement has to be domestic. If yes, what is the domestic raw material? Manufacturer is importing their raw material. Yeah. So domestic manufacturing, or whether the domestic value add was very, very clearly specified in Pharma 1, the 90 or the 70% in the case of APIs, which they were insisting was. Domestic value addition has not been specified in the current Pharma scheme, though that may be a rating criteria and that may be something which the project management agency will look into, but that is not a eligibility criteria while calculation of those incentives. So value add has been stressed in the rating criteria, but that will not be coming in the form of incentive calculation, I would say. Yeah, the next one is that the policy says that the following in guidelines for food processing, in case where the enterprise is a new enterprise, then the applicant needs to select the type of application as individual new product. That only existing companies can apply for the scheme, which is discordance of the above. This sentence for people who want to start enterprises now. Yes, very, very good question. So here also, I will say all the 7-8 PLIs which are there are slightly different on their approach. So if I talk about the PLI for white goods, yes, it talks about that you should have a global revenue as on 31st 2020, because see, many of those products are just now not manufactured in India. So if you put that condition that the company has to be in existence as on 31st March 2020, and you should then only get the incentive, was not logical, because some of the companies or some of the manufacturing was never happening in India. In the food processing, what they have done at this point of time is, yes, you are expected to have that activity in India as on 31st March 2020. We have addressed this to the ministry, and what the response we have got is there will be probably a PLI for food processing policy 2 in the next 3 to 4 months is what we understand when we were discussing, which will cover these kind of possibilities. So if you talk of a multinational which is now coming to India today and not having a base year manufacturing turnover as on 31st March 2020, so those kind of industries will be considered in phase 2, but not in this scheme, I would say. How would foreign companies wanting to set up industry in India be eligible under this PLI? Yeah, so the scheme does not bifurcate between a foreign company and an Indian company, so you can claim benefits under the PLI, obviously while keeping in mind the various conditions which are there. Okay, when you talk of pharma scheme, this is going to be, as I told, a limited scheme where 4 MNCs can qualify. But otherwise, foreign companies wanting to set up industry can be eligible under the PLI. But to answer what we talk about food processing or those kind of things, don't have a base year turnover as on 31st March 2020, you may have to probably wait for phase 2, which is there. For food processing, is there any allocation for different food sectors and for different size of enterprises? Yes, the total budgetary allocation is 10,900, which is there for food processing. Out of that, as we told, 250 crores is specifically for SME sector and whichever food sector they fall in, but this is for SME sector. 1,500 crores is to the branding and marketing. And the rest is divided amongst this marine, the ready to cook, ready to eat, the processed fruits and vegetables. So ready to cook, ready to eat is all having a allocation of 4,000 crores out of those 10,900. So that has been very clearly bifurcated in this. Does the specified electronic component PLI scheme under mobile and electronics include electronic? Any other no, this was for mobile and largely for that, but that scheme is closed now. So we understand there will be a PLI 2 coming from that also, but largely it was for the mobile space which was there. For food processing, noted that 17 June is the last date to file the application. Is there an action standard time frame for approval rejection? So IFCI has been given 90 days to approve or reject this one. So they will have to go through this whole file. So normally they don't take that 90 days is what we have seen. So 90 days is something as a higher limit which was there. Even in pharma, it was talking about 90 days, but within 30 to 35 days, they started giving that. But yes, if you talk of the statutory deadline, it is talking about 90 days. Have operational guidelines for ACC released? No, this needs to be released as yet. How do we determine what is innovative product for category 2 under food processing PLI? I'll say a very, very good scheme. A very, very good question, rather, I would say. Innovative, I will say, is always a subjective concept. What is innovative to you will not be innovative for me. But what they have given here is they have rated certain, they have a rating criteria out here. And 45% weightage of that rating criteria is to whether the product is innovative, whether the process is innovative, whether the branding marketing is innovative, what is your brand recognition, what is your standing in the market, what are your plans of export. So somewhere for this SME segment, what they are trying to look at is, like startups and this, what they are trying to look at this is, do you have a plan in place? Do you have a plausible and a good plan in place? And is that plan commercially viable and workable? Obviously, with this whole innovative angle, which is there. So it is slightly subjective, but they have tried to bring out this whole aspects in the rating criteria which they have given. PLI Pharma, can we still apply for the products listed in PLI Scheme 1? Yes, so PLI Scheme 1, which was there, which was last year in September, October, has opened again for a limited set of products now. And the last date to apply under that is 28th July. So PLI Scheme 1, which was unallocated budget of that, certain products, the APIs have now opened again till 28th July. So you can still apply under that one also, along with this PLI 2, which we discussed in detail. So largely, these were the query question and answer box. And now I saw something on the chat box also. Yeah. So yes, we answered this one. When we say food processing, is food processing machinery manufacturing considered? No, so that is not considered. Does these schemes include manufacturers of bags and leather goods, please? But probably a new PLI will come, and if we'll have to see how the textile policy comes across. So whether obviously will not be there, but if bags, some element of, and textile will be more HSN based policy which will come in. So we'll have to see how it will come in here. I guess we have already answered in the question box. By when auto PLI scheme would be announced? So yes, there is always, because this is the largest allocation of 57,000 crores, which is there, and people are waiting for this scheme. We understand at this point of time that this is pending with most cabin at this point of time, but within a month, because they are changing some basics of the scheme is what we understand here. So within a month, we should expect this scheme to be out. I have raised 4 questions. I guess we have answered this. And I guess 2 others are more on sharing of those PPTs which are there. So largely, I think so I have covered all the questions, chat box queries which were there. And we are still open as we have some 5 minutes in hand to probably take any questions if they are coming in. Over to you, Shikha.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Bhavesh. Thank you for such an elaborative and comprehensive presentation. I think one question, please give details of your help desk plus for plus questions. I think if any other...
I saw 2 questions coming in now.
Yeah.
So under food processing, are the contract manufacturing units are applicable? Yes, contract manufacturing units are applicable, but the condition here is that the principal manufacturer will not be able to claim it. So either the principal manufacturer can claim or either the contract manufacturer can claim. So if the principal manufacturer is applying on the basis of contract manufacturing revenue also, they will have to take a NOC from the contract manufacturer that I will not be claiming. So this is how it will work. Will take into consideration all infrastructure setup costs rates related to land costs. So yeah, fixed assets in all these schemes has been defined a bit differently in different schemes. So let me give an example. In the case of PLI for white goods, they are saying land and building will not be considered, only plant and machinery new would be considered. Whereas where you are talking of food pharma PLI, here it is talking about that land will not be considered. So largely I will say all the schemes land will not be considered, but plant and machinery and technical civil building, which is going on, will be considered for eligible project cost. I see something in the chat box also. Okay, please give what happens about merchant exporters working from lease factories. Can they apply for PLI for the capex made? Yeah, so the asset has to be held by you, and the capitalization has to happen from your books. They have given a certain deviation of accounting standard 19 where the lease assets have been held. But we can take this offline. We'll have to go a bit detail in this one. So I guess Shikha, we have covered.
So I think, yeah, we have covered, I think Mr. Bhavesh have covered all the queries. And the last one came is, can chemical manufacturers can also apply?
No, chemical manufacturers under pharma PLI, chemical will come up. We are hearing that chemical will come up with a different scheme altogether. So once this dust settles on all these schemes, as I told, chemicals is something which is going to come up as a new PLI. So we'll have to wait how it really works. But probably by December or January, and obviously we'll have to keep some COVID delays in mind, is something we are expecting to also come in.
So I think all the participants, they are requesting for the presentation, but I think it will be difficult to share presentation, but we'll be sharing the recording link with you all. So this session is recorded and we'll share that. And Mr. Bhavesh, I think some participants are asking for the contact details. So we request all of you to, if in case if you have any more questions or anything, you can send to me on my email ID, and we can coordinate and forward to our knowledge partners, ENNY, Mr. Bhavesh and Mr. Sachin.
Sure. We will do that. So whatever queries you have, you can send it to IACC.
So any more questions, if any of the participants, if they have, they can forward to IACC, and IACC can coordinate and connect. So now, as we have come to the end of this important discussion with all the queries for all the questions, I request Ms. Sridevi Devi Reddy, branch committee member, and also CEO of SR Innovation Exchange SR Foundation, to kindly give vote of thanks. Please, ma'am.
Thank you, Shikha. On behalf of Indo-American Chamber of Commerce, I would like to thank our esteemed speakers of this session, Mr. Bhavesh Thakkar and Sachin Agarwal ji. Thank you for taking out time today and sharing your knowledge with our members with such a comprehensive presentation. I myself learned a lot from your presentation today. When we as onlookers look at these scheme documents, there are so many small things that we are unable to comprehend. Thank you for giving us a comprehensive presentation today and explaining in detail. Thank you so much. I would also like to thank Ernst & Young LLP, our knowledge partner, for this amazing webinar. I would like to thank and congratulate our chairman of Indo-American Chamber of Commerce, AP&TS, Sri Vijay Sai Meka Garu, for initiating such an initiative which is so useful for our members. I also would like to express my gratitude to C. Narayan Rao Garu, Vice Chairman, IACC, AP&TS, for his valuable inputs and inducting us or introducing us to this session. Last but not the least, I would like to thank all the participants for attending. And I'm sure each one of you will be benefited by this interesting deliberations of this session. So stay safe, stay blessed. Thank you, one and all.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, madam. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to our speakers. Thank you, sir. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.